Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you do great. Thank you, Camille, for the invitation. Pretty amazing. I will talk about actionable analytics, or at least I hope that I will talk about that. Maybe quickly about myself. I'm Jonathan, working for a company called Actito. You can just put me in the category old dinosaur because I'm working there for 14 years and I'm only 40, so pretty good, I guess. What I mean by that, I've been touching a lot of different type of jobs in the company: customer success, sales, marketing, partnership. The good thing for a customer, I never code the platform, and they're really happy about that. And my CFO is also very happy that I never went into any kind of finance. Otherwise, 40, my son go to school in the ring over here, so pretty fun, so he's 12. He said that next time, tell me so that I can jump in and maybe not have a beer yet because he's only 12. But yeah, that was just for the funny part. I hate agendas because most of the time I've never managed to stick to any kind of agenda. I'm very bad with time, but I love to talk about a lot of problems that I encounter with customers, with partners during conversation. And I like pragmatic approach. It's maybe because I didn't study that long at school. I just had a bachelor, and so I need to do pragmatic things. And I believe that tactics eats most of the time, don't worry, strategy for breakfast. And my boss always told me, John, if you cannot demonstrate how we do it with partners, you're basically lying or bullshitting, just use the word you want. So there will be a demonstration part within. Although I record it, I will be more than happy, but I didn't know how the Wi-Fi is working over here. So this talk will only be successful if and only if you don't end up like that guy. If you drop me at least one question. I just went to another event before jumping here. That's why I'm so pretty late. We had 12 questions after the session. They had to kick us out of the room, so that's pretty cool. Then you know that at least, I don't know if the presentation was good, but at least the conversation were awesome. And if you have some kind of value, drop it to Camille so that they maybe invite me a second time. That will be also very cool. So when talking with customers, what I notice most of the time, they're always talking about what they want to do, but not the problems they're encountering on a daily basis. And I spend quite a lot of time with IT to understand what those technical guys are doing. And I like that kind of stories that most of them are using. As a blah, 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 I want to achieve ta, ta, ta. When I ask that to our ICP, which are marketeers, it's, as a marketeer, I want to be as close as possible to my client's needs. I want to deliver highly personalized experiences in all the channels and make it a very lovely story again, of course. And of course, then come the funny part, they would like to handle easily their data. You know, that kind of strange thing owned by IT, which they may not touch, they are not part of it, but that they need to make the business. Because the only thing that I know that a marketeer needs to do is generate revenue for the company. And it's funny, but in my team and our own marketing, I'm always saying our job is to make sales as easy as possible. Do we manage to do it? I don't know. As sales guys, I think we have one of them over here. Ask them if we do that, but that's definitely what we aim to deliver. And so that's always that but linked to that data. And I remember the first conversation we had with Thomas, because I was already convinced, I think even before my founders, that Camille was a fantastic technology. Remember the chat in Dublin, was so cool. And I say, those guys do black magic with data. And we need to offer black magic to our customers. And it starts always with that data problem, and that's that little quiz question. Do you have any idea about how many tools, and that's like the geek out of here will probably have that vision, I guess. How many tools are there in the MarTech landscape for small business? Any kind of idea? Somebody? Everybody scared? Less than 10? Raise your hand. Okay, more than 10. More than 20? Okay, 13. For small companies. I didn't say it. If you take mid-sized companies and we talk about employees, I think we should play basically with how much is your marketing team and your SDR and your IT team, which would be probably a better. But if you take mid-sized, 27, and if you take big companies, 52. And so they don't, the problem that I was trying to express over here, they always tell me we don't have data. That is what they have. Shitload of data in a CDP, because that's the new buzzword, let's face it. If you don't have a CDP as a CMO, you're a failed CMO, of course. Data lake, data warehouse, ERP system, behavioral data, web form, loyalty programs, just call it. you have so many data, and the problem is not about the data, it's about how do I handle that data. And I know that when we talk about analytics, that's also a big pain. How do you merge that data together? How do you bring sense? How do you bring a 360-degree view about your customer? That's the kind of pains that I think is the real pain of any marketeer. You take the new MarTech map, that's like all the technology that exists here outside, so you get the point. And so when we talk about data, and I will make that link to analytics, of course, I love pragmatic approach, and so you can just flash that. It's pretty funny. It's somebody in the UK that did that. We built canvases to help people think about their data. And
Step 2 then?
no sound.
I'm going to think about how I start to apply a structure to
Basically, she's explaining how the worksheet is working, but I will explain it for you. It will be funnier that way. It's always about business objectives and customer goals. If you don't start with your customer, you will probably get wrong from day one. So try to write down, as a marketeer, I need to generate revenue, and as a customer, they want to have like smooth experiences in all the channels and everything you can imagine. And that is where you will start building that customer vision and understand where is all that data. And I remember, and I will make some links with when we integrate Cumulayo in there, we had to provide that to those guys so that that can help us, because you think that you can query out of the blue in billions of records. That doesn't work that way. You need to prepare data, you need to understand, but you need to have a goal with that data. And so the first step is to collect, or at least know the information you need so that you can start looking at where is that information within your 50, 20, 30 kind of tools. Then comes the second step. It's like, okay, now that I know that I need a first name, a last name, I need composition because I'm like HelloFresh, for example. I need to understand, is it a solo guy? Does he have a wife, kids? That's the kind of thing you start mapping. And then you will have that core value. Email is the key, guys. Most of the time, or 95% for the times for us, you start with an email address, and then you will try to find that related data. I think the guys of Califio had a chat. Those guys are like the butter for us because they have an amazing gamification platform that allow us to pull all that data. I was in an event in Brussels just earlier today, and I think I said it 3 times. Out of nearly 15 years in the business, I know that if you can collect the first name of my son and the name of my dog, you will make a purchase to my wife. Basic stuff. And everybody talks about complex. No, so if you're HelloFresh, you need to have composition. You need to know what are the preferences. Do they like spicy food? Do they love Italian food? Then you start collecting that, but you need to talk about activation because I know the game. I want more, more, more. It's like the Cookie Monster, you know, eating, 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 eating. But what are you going to do? If I know the household, then I can start communicating in a personalized way with the appropriated box for that specific family or for that unique person. And so that's, again, a really pragmatic. If you start scratching, filling those, you will have buckets like that, but try to focus maybe on the first ones. Then you go to the second part. It's once you have the data, you will need to do targeting. Who is doing campaign management? Nobody? Okay. I do a lot of campaign management with our customers. So they need to ask to IT, could you build a target with all the families with at least 2 kids that live in Leuven and that love spicy food? That's targeting. I love to add to that segmentation because most of the time we think that marketeers are doing segmentation. Who is running maybe segmentation within the databases or owning databases? Also nobody? RFM model, recency, frequency, monetary value. Okay, are these all IT guys over here? IT, raise your hand. Okay. So I'm the marketing bullshit guy that is trying to explain you what marketeers want to do with you guys, just so you know. So again, targeting, those are the sequences. Then you will build a journey. And journey is the most complex part of it. It's, let's say you interact, and I love that kind of conversation. An email, then a second email, then a mobile push, then an SMS. That's kind of where are they, which is the channel that works on that specific type of profile. For example, I'm still reacting pretty a lot to email. If you send an email to my son, it will not work. You send him a push notification, probably better. Which kind of journey is he in or they in, and then success indicators. And that is something they didn't learn me at school. I arrived in the business world, and then they came up with ROI. Le roi, yeah, the queen, the koning, yeah, I know. no, you want money, but you need to bring money back. I said, no, they told me as a marketeer, I may spend billions of euros with billboards and making fancy radio spots. Return on investment, no clue. And that is where the analytics will start playing, of course, a game. And that is where we have been integrating the analytics, and we call that marketing intelligence. I'm doing marketing, guys, sorry. You know, I need to bring a bit the fuzz around it. And the proof of the pudding that I've been discovering when playing with the tool of Cumul with our customer, I see like 4 use cases, and I made little clips on demo environments that we have, because that is the proof of the pudding, according to me. One of the first things we discovered was like data exploration. I had no fucking clue about what data exploration was. But all you guys that implement their technology, you can have like pre-templates and building your own dashlets and everything. And when we were building this, that is like for a retail customer. And then we were able to give them insight that they never understand because they didn't have any kind of data visualization. What I mean by that, it's easy to look at a record in your CRM and say, Jonathan is born 5th of June, 1982. But if 20% of your database is born 1st of January, 1900, pretty strange. You will not see that on a record, but you saw that one. We saw like, shit, it will stop, of course, playing, and I don't go fast enough. I will stop it there. We saw on this, the Age of Pyramid, they had like 70% of the database that was more than 93. The close for the people of 25. Oops, I think we have a problem with the data. And that was like a thing that they never noticed. And what we noticed after, they had some kind of forms where the date was pre-filled. And so when people were registering to the loyalty program or everything, they were all born the 1st of January, 1900. And that is something you could discover here. If you want to discover something else that was pretty amazing, and that is with stores. If you have locations, you have all your stores and the purchases they made, and then you start playing with filters. You know that targeting I was discussing, my super gold customer versus my bronze customer? Okay, my gold customer, where are they located? Should I open a store or not? But we went even deeper by saying, show me the outlet that are VIP. Would I build a store over here? I don't have anybody over here. Why should I do that? So you can basically take decisions not on the fact, and I have a CEO like that, I have 2 CEOs by the way, but I have one CEO that could open an office just because it's a fucking lovely place. It looks so great, it's like all the other ones are doing. Does he think about the business behind it? I'm really doubting. The other one thinks only business, so I get the decent balance. What I mean by that, you can take best decision by understanding that. And that is how those guys hooked me in like 4 years ago. It was because I was looking at Excel sheets. Rows, 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 and I had to understand something out of that. In once, I had that raw data, those Excel sheets, presented in lovely graphics. I'm not saying that there is any brain juice that you need to put in this, but you can start really small and then adding layers by layers. And I use it the most today to ask to my customer to build segmentation, so that they finally understand what is the impact on the different type of customers they have, on the different type of stores they are opening. Is the lady reacting in a different way to the campaign than the boy? So that is, according to me, a first step, which would be data exploration and understanding. Of course, I just said it a few minutes earlier. If you don't talk euros today as a marketeer, you fucking screwed. You will not last long as a CRO, CMO, call it as you want. That is where we integrated purchase data. Again, I was talking about that cluttering of the data. It's easy. Do you have a Magento or a Shopify? Yes, we have. Then you have transactions. Then we can start building, and we can start building definitely campaigns. What we can see over here is like different channels that they're using, email and SMS, and the different type of stores, products over here, and stores were up. I will stop that video. That doesn't work. It goes too fast. I cannot speak that fast. Although I speak very fast, I think. Stop. Pause. Why you don't? Yes. Pause. So I said, those are like the performing store. I was once working for a very famous kind of, how do you say that? Not lunch garden, but those kind of, you know, food service. And it was funny. One guy was selling like mosselen, like nuts, but like 3 times more than anybody else. And we just saw that on a graphic. What can you do as a good marketeer? It's you go to that guy, what are you doing to sell so many mosselen? And he said, oh, we put 2 extra billboards outside and we send an email campaign about a promotion and inviting. They were just generating more marketing campaigns to generate more traffic to the store. And so we could show revenue at the end. And then you go to that bat store and you say, look at what your friend is doing in Contig tegenover jij in Brussel. He's making a lot of money. You don't make a lot of money. Then you starting rolling another kind of games, and that is, there were a lot of high-level discussion earlier today. That is what I call change management and transformation in organization. It's once that you can come with those kind of insight, those kind of figures, it's not that I can yell very hard. Ask my team, most of the time I can influence the game. When you have figures, the figures decide. You don't decide, even if you're a good influencer. And then you can go even deeper in those kind of, where is the mouse? Bon, je vais regarder là. You can go deeper. You can start with those stores, and then I think, yes, and that is like categories of products. Imagine merging products with stores to define your next best strategy. That is like really becoming like black magic for most of the marketeers. It's easy. I cross this with that, and I will show you how easy it can be within the interface. Do I have another one? Yeah, the last one is that one. I like that. It's in French, sorry. Evolution of the average basket by week. I can relate that to the efforts that the team were doing. It's easy. We put this now in my own team on the TV so that we can basically have always our analytics up front. And you can have that for multiple layers, like revenue by week, revenue by month, average basket value, just starting. The only thing I would highly recommend, don't push that much that what you see over here, because otherwise it's like they love to see it, but they will not use it. If I had to remake that with some of a customer, I would put much less filter, much less data, and make sure that they do something with it. And then adding more complexity, more data points. I think Agile, which you all know because you're all IT over here, should be part of developing those kind of approaches around analytics, of course. Next, attribution. I hate that, just so you know. I think it's like a rabbit hole for marketeers. You can spend a lot of money in there. You need to hire a lot of people, so it's good, I guess, for the recruitment agency, the data scientists and everything. At the end of the day, first touch, last touch, if I can already give those figures, I feel really good. But because those guys are extremely good, they could address and say that you make so many millions with SMS, that you make so many on a global, and you can resplit it by your top campaigns. Double down on the one that generate 80%, you know, the 20-80 rules, you will have that in your campaign as well. One campaign that skyrockets everything, they can identify, they can replicate, they can distribute it again. And so that is, again, the power of analytics, according to me. It's putting those euros in front of a campaign. You know, at the end, it's just sending an email. Yeah, but you need the creative, you need the offering, you need the copy, blah, blah, blah. It's not nothing, even if MailChimp is very cheap. And not that cheap anymore, by the way. Okay. Do you move? Don't you move? Yes. And when you talk about data activation, and that is definitely what we would like more of our customers to do. Sorry, Camille, but we didn't manage to convert already all our customers to the technology. But what I want them to do, and that is definitely why I'm still so close to sales, is I want to build some kind of magic segment. And that's what I love to call my black, or the black magic that Camille offers us. I have an amount of profile in my database, 2 million people over there, and I will start crunching, or at least building the targeting. You remember that we were asking to your IT? I look at like, how is my market splits by country? So I want only the Belgium customers, first selection that you do. Then I go down in there. Engagement score is a score that we calculate about the activity of the people. Do they react or not to the campaign? I want only the good, because they're extremely good or already converting. And basically, I want to see how they will be split. And I see that I can have a reach of 362,000 people. Then you have a little bucket. You see, I can really draw well narrow. And I can build a targeting. And within my tool, that is my part, sales pitch now, guys, I can connect that to what we call a scenario. All those guys that are using Adobe, Salesforce, and all those campaign multi-channel tool, we start there, and I can just recover, and I look, and I made that yesterday. It auto-generate the name, AMI, which is the module of Cumul with us, with a date, and that's that selection of 365,000 people. And now, me, as a marketeer, can start operating on that. What do I want to do? I want to run an A/B test. OK, let's do an A/B test. I want to show that email has a different performance in close rate than an SMS, because you want to challenge the weight and the cost of those campaigns. Of course, you don't stop at just sending an email. You want to see that the interaction is also happening. Watch out with the openings. We all know the Apple kind of stuff, providing fake. And I think opening is a really bad metric. It's a vanity metric. I think we should look at conversion, which is much better. And then in this blog, I was sending an email. If it didn't interact, send them to an audiences so that I can do some kind of retargeting on them. And at the other end, I will work on an SMS. And if that SMS doesn't deliver and that he's part of my super good customer, I'm ready to send a print. I was just showing in a few minutes how I can build a multi-channel campaign from a targeting that I was just exploring out of Camille. And that is, according to me, the proof of the pudding. If every technology could provide that as easy as I was doing there, it would be fantastic. It takes time. I think that's the reality, to bring those dashboards in front of our customer. It brings time to help them do those kind of things, but it's there. What I mean, it's not like black magic anymore. It's just accessible technology, and if you have good people around you, you can start crafting fantastic experiences and personalization for your customers. So yeah, takeaways, but I think you get the point. It's go lean with everything. Really try always to use that kind of canvas where you say, okay, which type of data, where is it, how can I collect it, but definitely how I activate it, and how do I put like a performance indicator around it. Leverage visualization. We are marketeers. We love to do creative things. We love to look at good design. I don't know if Natalia is there. She's helping us, for example. Hey, beautiful. She's helping us because I work with IT, and they make really ugly dashboards. She makes fantastic dashboards. And it looks stupid to say changing a color. We are human. You prefer the black car at the red car. Why shouldn't I care about the color of my dashboard as well? It's exactly the same. Make it attractive if you want people to use it. Put euros behind your campaign. And more important, start activating definitely today, because you have it. It's there. It's not black magic anymore. And as a closing, they asked me that question. And I don't know if Mieke, I know Mieke is in New York, waarschijnlijk. She's still in New York. She asked me that question, and I liked it. If the perfect SaaS analytics experience exists, what would it look like? I think that is a pretty good truth visuals about it. Minority Report, everybody knows it. With our friend, I will talk about accessibility. User-friendly orphan jobs. Sorry, guys, but he made it happen. And then you have that augmented human with Iron Man, where he got all that extra information. And that would be like the scope of where it is. And basically, you need to chat with those guys. They can help you build that. And that was it for me, guys. Thank you. I know they switched the agenda, so I don't know if I take questions here or after, or do we just have like some drinks? No clue.
I'll help you.
You help me, man?
Are there any questions?
Oh, so cool of you.
For Jonathan?
You see? No. Marketing, man. Marketing, too much ITs. But I'm happy to share all the challenges we had as well with the technical team when I was pushing that. I can talk about it as well if you want.
People are just so impressed, they need to think about their question a
Probably.
little bit first, but I'm sure there will be a few.
No
Voilà. Beautiful Natalia has a question for you, Jonathan.
Okay, tell me, go.
Happy to help you with the dashboards, but you also in your presentation mentioned that you were super convinced about Humayo and you didn't like the interactivity. What was the main concern of your CEOs, and how did you overcome?
I think it's a good question. So I think my CEOs are not technical people. So it's really tough, I think. It's like an iceberg. When I see the 20% of amazing things, and they see the 80% hard part that need to be handled. And just to give you an idea, I have one of my CEO is a lawyer, and the other one is an ex-McKinsey guy. I think this is where, yeah, exactly. So you need to bring it a pragmatic way. I think that Thomas sweat the hell to get that deal done as well. But so I think it's about change management and also a change in your reflection. I think what that helped Camille at that time was also the move that Salesforce was taking with Tableau. And we want to defend European tech. That's another part of my job, is building an ecosystem of European players. Not that Americans are bad, but we think that in Europe, there are nearly an alternative for everything that the US is doing, with that European touch, which make us unique. And I think we would like to be like big defender of that. And if you see, I think Actito today, it's 52 technologies that connect around us, all European. So we don't, it's maybe a hard goal, not that we hate American tools, but we would like to avoid working with American tools. Is that a... We don't use Gmail. We have an instance of Office, but they required a lot of legal documents to guarantee that the data was and stay in Dublin, because we have also the cloud, and we are now replicating that in our own data center, which you guys know because you push the data in our own data center so that we can provide the reporting. But it's like a non-visible part for our customer. It's basically the entire infrastructure of Actito is in Europe and owned by us. So we don't rely on AWS or Google kind of things. So it's cool at one end. It's fucking challenging at the other end for scalabilities and those kind of things. But I think it's a choice that we took like 5 years ago. And you know Benoit, which is the lawyer. I'm pretty sure he has a tattoo with GDPR somewhere on his body. I don't know where, and I don't want to know where. But I think if you preach that, then you go until the end. Otherwise, I'm always saying sales may not lie, and it would be lying if we were doing it in another way. So really, to change it, it was demonstrating.
And you?
No, but I don't like questions of Olivier. Those are always tricky questions.
It was positioned on one of the slides as an add-on, and he was actually wondering how you monetize that.
Yeah. Monetization is probably a big word. The lady about partnership is over there. It's called Marina. So we took a decision a couple of years ago. Long story short, all the engineers I have love to rebuild what already exists because they are missing like a feature or anything, so they love to redevelop something that exists and just cope with those 5% that were not completely like they wanted. And I remember it was in Dublin with the two CEOs. I said, we need to stop doing those kind of crazy things because at the end, your roadmap, you never get or what we had to deliver for the customer. We were building other kind of tools, you know? And so I said, we need to be amazingly good at building marketing databases. We need to be extremely good at being able to personalize the messaging in the moment, the channels. And those are really the two core features we have to offer on a daily basis. Everything that goes around it, if there is somebody in Europe that can basically put their expertise next to us, we go for that option. It's what we call the best of breeds. And so we took a decision, instead of making a marketplace where everybody could like apply to being part of that, we own that relation with every single person that we put in there. So Marina has a lot of conversation with those people. They meet our own people. We see if there is a fit as well between the companies, you know. We do a lot of events with you since a couple of times. And so it's a co-investment that we like to do, but you need to share some core values. If you're not at the same kind of level, you will be eaten by the big one. I can tell a story. I was the guys of Leadfeeder, which is like a tool that is doing reverse IP on based. If a company go on your website, they say, "Oh, E&J was on your website," and they were in the marketplace of Salesforce for free. They were offering the plugin basically, and not Benioff, but a buddy of Benioff gave them a call and say, "You owe me 3 million euros." Because that's the volume of business that you generate because you're in the marketplace. And the day that I heard that, I say, I will never build a marketplace at Actito. I will build an ecosystem of business partners where we rely on the same value. And is it now about commission and who pays what? If you're good partners, you always find an option. But there is not a game of trying to build something where we were going to pull money or make money in the marketplace. It's really about adding functionalities and features so that our customers can activate better their customers. That's the core value of an ecosystem versus a marketplace. I don't know if that answered your question. It's recorded, so send it to Olivier. He's part in there, and he's trying to negotiate because I have 2 levels of partners. I have what we call premium add-ons, which are totally integrated and sold by my own team. And then we have more like the standard add-ons where you connect your technology, and you would like to shift to the second one, and that is probably why he had the question. Other questions? Loud and clear?
You showed some dashboards towards customers. Do you customize them for them? Is it a service you offer?
So it will happen at one day. So there are two kind of ways of approaching it. We think that I work in 6 markets. So we are present in Belgium, France, and I will just take those 2. If I take an average marketeer, digital marketeer in France, they are probably 2 to 3 years more mature than a Belgian one. Not because they have better school of those kind of things, because a marketing team in France is already 5, 6, 7 people, where a lot of the teams in Belgium is 1 or 2. So the time to learn and to scale is linked to the amount of people. So what we do now is the offering of marketing intelligence within Actito has been verticalized based on the industry. So we have been exchanging a lot with Natalia, but what do you think are the good KPIs or visuals that we need to propose? And we iterate a lot on different sectors like the bank, the retail, the e-commerce, and the media industry. Those are the 4. And we come up with pre-built dashboards. And today, honestly, when we show that, we sell, but it's not used enough. So I think before trying to go the extra level to give them access to building their own things, they need to already use it much more, and not just for one campaign. When I say use it much more, they should look at it every day. They should at least run 2 campaigns every week. And those are the KPIs we've put at our end. And this is where my boss said, John, you know what? You're doing marketing. You should help them get more value out of the dashboarding. And that is why I came for this presentation. I think showing this, even to our customer, in a very rough way like I did with you, would shake a bit the tree. I'm always saying, you know, we have customer success like you have, and I owned that team for 3 years, and I was always saying to my team, your job is kick the ass of the customer to make him do more. Not just to make sure he's happy about things, but just push him a bit, because otherwise there will be 20 other kind of things he needs to focus on, and he will never leverage it. Then Salesforce arrive, make some black magic presentation, and you're fucked. And since we do that, we're getting, but it takes time. Honestly, I think it's probably a journey of 6-12 months for every customer from inception to really getting the value and challenging it. It's probably between 6 and 12 months, I would say. But yeah, we're working very hard with Natalia to make them, pimp them those more and more. And I think we will manage, but it takes time. But you don't build business by night. It's not to you that I need to say that, guys.
It's a very iterative process. Any other questions for Jonathan?
Cool.
No? In that case, thank you very much for your presentation.
Pleasure,